ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। ओम समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ओम सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। नमस्ते शंकरानंद गुरुपादाम्बुजन्मने सविलासमहामोह ग्राहग्रासैककर्मणे। हरि ओम। We have completed up to 91 verses in 9th chapter in the last class. So if you remember, Upasana and Brahmajnani differences are being discussed. The difference what has been pointed out, one major difference is also, very many differences are said. If somebody is putting his efforts to control the mind, then he is a upasaka, but not a knower of the truth. So once Tattvavit, knower of the truth, had got the knowledge, he is identified not with the mind-body complex. He is awakened. So when he recognized that he is not this body, mind, intellect, there is no control or sadhana for Tattvavit. So to know a part, the mind need not be controlled. That's what's said. Because once he is awakened to the truth, he can see what is the essence of the part clearly. Once he is known the essence of the part as mud, that knowledge will never go. So Purvapakshi's contention is that Jnani should maintain Aham Brahmasmi Vritti thought always. Otherwise he may forget, etc. Vijayamani says is no need. Once you got the knowledge of it, it will never go away. He is awakened to the truth. So Purvapakshi's worry is what? Opponent worry. When a Jnani, Atma Jnani, when he involves in the Vyavahara, then his divine state may be threatened. Freedom. Atma Jnana, Atma Sthiti, Jnanam, what he had gained. Therefore, his mind may also go astray here and there. So, according to opponent, Jnani also should remember continuously the God, the Brahma Vritti. Vidyaramani says, once you got the knowledge, see, remember, two important points. To generate a knowledge, vritti is necessary. Thought is necessary. First, to generate the knowledge of the pot, the thought is necessary. Vritti vyapti, phala vyapti is required. I am not going to repeat vritti vyapti, phala vyapti. Vritti vyapti, what? Thought going out and then taking the shape of the object. Chidabhasa illumining the object is called phala vyapti. So the knowledge of the pot. Once you got the pot knowledge, so to know the pot, thought is required. Without thought, I cannot get the knowledge. Thought has to go and embrace the object. But once I got the knowledge of the pot, thought is not necessary. Knowledge is there with me. In the pot, knowledge is always there. Whenever I want to recall the knowledge of the pot, that this is a pot, a vritti is formed. So to recall, vritti is required. Initially, to create the knowledge, thought is required. But once I got the knowledge of the pot, I need not repeat the thought. This is the pot, this is the pot, this is the pot, this is the pot. If you say, if I don't repeat, I will forget, then how much knowledge you have gained so far in the world? So many objects, so many things. The moment I see the object, I will know, oh, this is it. Suddenly we see a television. Oh, this is TV set. Why? I got the first time knowledge. Somebody taught me the vritti. This is the thought, rupa, function, kriya. I understood. So that time thought was required. I gained the knowledge that this is the thought. This is the TV. Once I got that knowledge that this is the TV, I did not repeat. No, remember that was the TV, that is fake, not required. But whenever I see the thought, whenever I see the TV, I recall it in the form of a thought only. So, but to protect the knowledge of the TV, I don't need the thought. To generate in the beginning, the thought that this is a TV, the knowledge that it is a TV to be generated, the knowledge through vritti it is generated, knowledge through thought it is generated in the first instance. That is thought required. To recall afterwards, whenever I see a television that this is a TV, thought is required. But to once gain the knowledge, to maintain the knowledge of the TV, the thought is not required. That is what it says. Similarly, aham brahmasmi jnanam is there. It is maintained. Whether the vritti is maintained or not, once I am awakened to the truth that this is me, this is what is jnana, aham brahmasmi. I have got experience, conviction, I got it. I recognize that this is me. Which is me? This is me. A Brahman is me. By anubhav. So thereafterwards, I need not maintain the thought that I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. Not required. Similarly, just as we don't repeat the thought that I am man, or I am woman, I am woman. But I don't remember always I am man. Remember, I am always woman. No. Why? I involve in many activities without actually being aware whether I am man or woman. Think about it. You are very hungry, eating food, playing. At that time, you are not conscious all the time that you are man or you are woman. But knowledge is there. But whenever somebody asks or whenever you wanted to do, for example, you want to dress, there is no confusion that I am man. So the thought, in the beginning, thought is required. To recall that knowledge in the form of thought only, it appears in the mind. But very important thing is to maintain that knowledge, thought is not necessary. This is what has been concluded in the last class. But the Purvapakshi is not, we're not living, we will have so many questions. So we shall start now, 92nd verse. Sakrut pratyaya matrena gatasched bhasate tada Swaprakasho yamatma kim ghatavachana bhasate. Sakrut pratyayamatrena ghataschet bhasate. Now he is comparing the pot knowledge and knowledge of Brahman. What is with for Ghatagyanam, for the knowledge of the pot, Brahmagyanam is superior to Ghatagyanam, is it not? Knowledge of the pot is inferior, knowledge of Brahman is superior. But when Ghatagyanam, when a ordinary object of the world, pot, to maintain that pot knowledge, there is no thought required, no meditation required. Is it required to meditate that this is a pot, this is a pot? Not necessary. So once Sakrut Pratyaya Matrena, if I come to know about the pot only once, that knowledge will remain with me forever. Why? That Swaprakashataya, and similar, if the knowledge, the pot remains for. What to talk about the Paramatma, the Atma Jnana self, Swaprakashoyam. This is a self-effulgent Atma, Ghatavachana bhasate. Therefore, suddenly it is not required for Atma Jnanam. So, Ghata required Chidabhasa. Laukika Jnanam is required. For even Laukika Jnanam, the thought maintenance is not required. Atma Jnana being superior to Ghata Jnana. Atma is self-evident, Swaprakasham, self-effulgent. So, once the Jnana Vritti takes place with respect to pot, the pot knowledge is not going away. Then what to talk about Brahman? So, once I get Jnana Vritti, it removes the Ajnana Avarana. Because of Jnanam, Ajnana Avarana, the wheel of ignorance is removed and knowledge is generated through Vritti, that Aham Kahamba, Akanda Brahmakara Vritti. Thereafterward, that Jnanam is one at once I become realize that this is self, this is me. Once I know, I am awakened to the truth. Thereafterwards, Jnana, to preserve Jnana, there is no Vritti necessary. There is no thought necessary. So, but otherwise, one who is constantly reminding oneself that I am Brahman, I am Brahmasmi, Nirguna Brahma Upasana, one who is doing Upasana, because it is necessary, because he is not yet established or realized or convinced that I am Brahman. It's wonderful, isn't it? The clarity. Therefore, Puja Gurudev, example, because you have seen him and Mahatmas, they always remain as Brahman alone. Brahmavit Brahmaiva Bhavati. There's no, because their knowledge, the self-effulgence is so much, they may involve, that becomes slokas. But they don't need to remind themselves, they don't need meditation, they don't need upasana, they don't need karma. For what? For recognizing that they are Brahman, all the sadhanas are not required. And there is no effort also in them to maintain that they are Brahman. Similar, just as there is no effort in all of us to maintain that we are human beings. We know. So this is what Vijnana is. Sakrut matrena pratyaya matrena. Only once you get the knowledge of the pot, that remains permanent. What to talk of Brahma Jnanam? No, Purapakshi insists. The opponent says, no, thought is required for Jnanam. He is not leaving it. His contention is thought should be maintained 24/7, otherwise you will forget that you are Brahman. What he says now in 93rd verse, Swaprakashataya kimte tad buddhistattva vedanam buddhischa kshananashyeti चोद्यम तुल्यम घटादिषु. 1 second. Yes. He says, Swaprakashataya kimte. The buddhi tattva vedanam. He says, what is that? No, you are talking that Atman is self-effulgent. Purapakshi, opponent is arguing. What is his argument? That Jnani also must preserve, must protect, must repeat Aham Brahmasmi Vritti. Otherwise, he will lose that knowledge. I must constantly remember myself, I am man. How stupid it is. It is difficult, no? Then what will I do other works? Then so much of knowledge I have gained. Every knowledge I have to remember, recall only through thought, always. But Purapakshi says, Aham Brahmasmi Vritti Jnanam, that knowledge, the thought that I am Brahman, must and should be maintained 24/7. So what he says, in order to preserve that knowledge, you must preserve that thought. You must continue that thought. You must protect the thought that I am Brahman. This is what Purapakshi says. This is Vedanta Charcha. This is all, ultimately, see, this quick clarity we give, it gives us clarity. What is the state of realization and what is the state of Upasaka? And what is that which we agree? See, vritti is necessary to generate knowledge. Akanda Brahmakara vritti is necessary to get Brahma Jnanam. Shastra very clearly speaks about it. Because any Jnanam takes place only through vritti. But vritti aspect doesn't remain forever. But both agree. Purapakshi and Siddhanti, Vidyaranya Muni and the opponent agree that to generate that knowledge, the Aham Brahmasmi knowledge, thought is necessary. That there is no problem. The vritti is necessary to create that knowledge. Agreed. Absolutely no doubt about it. But Purapakshi says, to preserve also you should you should repeat the thought. Vidyaranya says to preserve the knowledge, thought is not necessary. So, Swaprakashataya kim, he says, Purapakshi says, Atma is self-effulgent. So what? It is self-effulgent in amoeba, in fly, in human being, in animal, everywhere. This Atma is always self-effulgent. Ajnani may be Atma is self-effulgent. Jnani may be self-effulgent. इससे क्या फर्क पड़ा बताओ? सब में आत्मा प्रत्यक्ष है, मैंने सब में आत्मा विराजमान है, स्वयं प्रकाश है. इससे किसमें क्या फर्क पड़ा बताइए? तो ज्ञान चाहिए, आत्मज्ञान, आत्मा है, आत्मज्ञान चाहिए और ज्ञान वृत्ति की रक्षा भी करनी चाहिए. ये पूर्व पक्षी कहते हैं, पूर्व अपोनेंट कहते हैं. Because vritti alone destroys ignorance, so vritti is necessary to maintain. And self-knowledge is different from self-effulgence. Self-effulgence सब में है, but ज्ञान नहीं है. तो कुछ कुछ लोगों में ही एक ज्ञान होता है कि मैं ब्रह्म हूं, सब में ब्रह्म विराजमान है. तो जिसको ज्ञान हुआ वही ज्ञानी है वृत्ति के रूप में, और वृत्ति को संभालना है, वृत्ति को बुझने नहीं देना. So, Atma Jnanam is what? Atma Jnanam Vritti Rupena is generated by whom? By Guru and Shupadesha, Shastra, Tattvamasi, Vakya, Mahavakya, Vichara. Then the Guru tells that you are Brahman. Then this thought is generated in me through Jnanam. Atman is self-effulgence, no doubt. But Vritti is necessary. That's what he says. After gaining Upadesha from Guru, he should maintain that I am Brahman always. But Vijayaranya Muni says, Jnani need not remember this. Jnani is the one who is awakened to the truth. Thereafter, thought is not necessary. Upasaka is there. Upasaka has to remember because he is a meditator. He has not awakened to the truth. So he must do sadhana. Otherwise, he may forget and involve in samsara. But this principle doesn't, what do you call, applicable to Jnani. So Vijayaranya Muni asks, are you preserving the pot knowledge? बताओ व्यवहार में देखिए व्यावहारिक दृष्टि से भी देखा जाए कि बुद्धिश्च क्षणनाश्येति चोद्यम तुल्यम घटादिषु. Now Vijayaranya Muni asks, very important. If that is the case, chodyam tulyam, it is equal to what? It is applied to the pot knowledge also. Then the pot knowledge, mean any objective knowledge, it is applicable to any objective knowledge. That once you got the knowledge, to not to forget it, to maintain that knowledge, I should be very tiresome, is it not? See, the moment I am born, I am only exposed to maybe mother, first mother, one object with the form. As a baby, touch, through touch, I recognize. But as I am growing, how many objects I am learning? Lakhs and lakhs of objects. Do you think that all of them to remember, I need to repeat that every object is like the thought? Pagal ho jaunga na? So Vijayaranya Muni says, are you preserving the pot knowledge? How do you protect your knowledge of the pot? Are you protecting it by repeating the thought of the pot? You are not repeating the thought, no? Same thing is applicable to Brahma also. So Brahmajnani, once he is got that knowledge crystal clear that I am Brahman, thereafterwards, thought is not necessary. If he wants to claim that I am Brahman, through thought he will express. So in the beginning, thought was necessary to generate the vritti, Akhanda Brahmakara vritti through Mahavakya Upadesha, Mahavakya Vichara, inquiry into the statements of Vedas, primary 4 statements, which seek identity between Jiva and Brahman. Then whenever I want to recall that, thought is necessary as a medium. But to remember I am Brahman, I don't need thought, is not necessary. तो बताओ पहले part के विषय में बताओ. If you say part knowledge require part repetition, thought repetition, then I will answer. How can Purvapakshi say? Purvapakshi knows by experience that knowledge of the part doesn't mean he has to repeat the thought of the knowledge of the part, that this is the part, this is the part, this is the part. So Purvapakshi gets angry. In the sense he says, no, don't talk about part. I know what happens with the part knowledge. He says, Gatadau nischite buddhihi nasyatyeva yada gataha ishtone tum tada shakyah ichite itichet samamatmani. Gatadau nischite buddhihi nasyatyeva yada. Once I get the buddhi, conviction in the buddhi that this is Ghatam. The very important slokas which differentiate between Jnani and Upasaka. Very important. As we have seen, Upasaka has to maintain that by kind of prayatna, effort to maintain that I am Brahma. Aham Brahmasmi Vritti, to maintain, to remember God, to remember Brahma, he has to put effort. Jnani did not put any effort. Saguna Brahma Upasaka, Nirguna Brahma Upasaka has to try that, constantly meditate, remember 24/7, remember God. A Saguna Brahma. Nirguna Brahma, remember that I am Brahman, Naham Deha, Naham Chittaha, Mano Buddhi Hankara Chittani Naham, Nacha Stotra Jihve, Nacha, all that. Nacha Grana Netre, Nacha Vyoma Bhumir, Nate Jo Navayu, Chidananda Rupa Shivoham, Nirguna Upasana. He has constantly repeat Asangoham, 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 Punah Punaha, again and again and again and again. Satchidananda Rupoham, Ahameva Hamamvyayaha. Nirguna Brahma Upasana. But once Jnanam, for Jnani, whenever any Jnani, the knowledge of the knower of the pot also, whenever he wanted, he can call, that knowledge of the pot comes in front of him. So, Purvapakshi, with regard to pot, he says, sir, regarding pot, you don't ask doubt, I will tell you what happens. Why? He says, once the pot is knowledge is generated, see, Gatadau Nischite Buddhi, when the Buddhi has come to a firm conclusion regarding the pot, that is, this is the pot. I have got this knowledge firmly taken place that this pot. Thereafterwards, Nashyati, Yeva, the thought is destroyed. Thought is not required. Right? That thought is destroyed, not required. The thought is now has achieved its purpose. No thought is not required. Yada Gataha, just as Gata thought of the Gata is destroyed, not required. Nashyati, it is destroyed. Once I gain the knowledge of the pot, Ishtonetum Tadashakya. And whenever I want to recall that knowledge of the pot, I can recall. So, ignorance is there, thought comes, thought removes ignorance, thereafter thought also gone. But knowledge remains. Knowledge will continue without the thought. Thought is not necessary. No, for knowledge once you have gained, it is not depending on the thought. He gives example of Purvapakshi only says, Ishtonetum Tadashakya. Whenever I wanted to retrieve the knowledge of the pot, I can retrieve it. And when I retrieve, it is retrieved in the form of thought only. At the time of gaining, it thought. But to store the knowledge, I need not use thought. So how is knowledge preserved? Not in the form of a thought. It is there. Ishtonetum tadashakya iti chet is the Purvapakshi, this is how it happens. Samam Atmani. Vidyaranya says, Samam Atmani. Same is the true with regards to self also. Very important. Remember this. Knowledge is gained always through thought. It is Brahmakara Vritti necessary with the knowledge of Brahman also. Through thought only it is gained. Once the thought captures, thought dissolves. then I awaken to the truth. Swayam Prakashatvam, I will realize. Once I know I am Brahman, the thought is not necessary. Once I know that this is a pot, this is a table, this is a chair, I need not maintain. Whenever I see the chair, I remember, oh, it's a chair. Vritti is formed and then immediately I understand. Samam Atmani. Therefore, Vijan says, it is same thing, my dear, with regards to Brahmajnani also. Brahmajnani need not remember, need not constantly think, I am Brahma, I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. Wonderful. Nishchitya sakrudatmanam yadapeksha tadaiva tatu vaktum mantum tathathyatum shaknotyeva hi tattvavit. Once nishchitya sakrud atmanam. Once I have realized the nature of Atma fully, no, this is me. This I will understand one day. That is Upasaka says that I will understand one day, but Jnani understood. So Jnani claims, oh, Aham Brahmas. Therefore, Sakrud Atmanam Nischitya, man of realization, Yada Apeksha, whenever needed, Yada Apeksha, Tadeva Tam Vaktum Mantum Tatha Dhyatum Shaknoti. Then I can recall very clearly. Vaktum, I can speak about it, I can think about it, I can meditate on it. If I want, I can meditate. I absorb within my own glory. I can absorb. That's it. I just remain within myself, by myself, as self. My ichha it is. Afterwards, some slokas will come. If I want, I can withdraw and be just as self. If I want, I can involve in the world also. That's how the Rishis, Maha great masters and all that. Their nature of Brahman, once they awaken to the truth, it will never go away. So once we become a Jnani, permanently we become Jnani. Once for all, we are Atma Jnanis. Then I can involve in the worldly activities. I can play, I can dance. That doesn't threaten my knowledge. I can involve, I can be busy in work. He never forgets. Somebody asks him, oh, can you teach about Atma? He will immediately tell. Atman is the nature of this and this and this and this. So speak of it, manthum, think of it, dhyatum, meditate, shaknoti. Shaknoti eva hi tattva. Very wonderful it is. So then who is Upasaka? in 91st verse, when you are contemplating and meditating, doing sadhana, we are only upasakas. Whether it is Saguna Brahma Upasana or Nirguna Brahma Upasana. There afterwards, I need not control mind because I am not the mind, and mind doesn't go anywhere also. That we will see later on. Like I give example for some management talks and for youth talks. A trained mind need not be chained. Trained mind need not be chained. There is no requirement of a chain to be put over the neck of the dog to control, because the dog has been trained. So without chain also, it won't go out of the house, it won't loiter here and there. It is disciplined, always waiting for the instructions of the master, and it is always surrendered to master and obeys implicitly the orders of the master. So such a trained dog will not do any bad work outside, any fighting with other street dogs, nothing. He doesn't do anything. The very disciplined dog, even though there is no chain over the neck of the dog, around the neck of the dog. Dog's nature is, mind is what? Keep quiet. So he will not do any wrong thing, but he can involve. Dog, that's such a trained dog can involve in activities as instructed by the master. Similarly, the jnani also can let loose his mind. It won't go. There is no restriction, no control is necessary. And no sadhana also is necessary to remember himself that he is God or he is Supreme Brahman. No sadhana is necessary. He is awakened, he knew it. So why worry? So imagine now, like all the awakened souls, what kind of state they are in. And looking at their vyavahara, we conclude that, oh, Gurudev likes this, Gurudev doesn't like this. It's all from our perception. They know that they are Brahman. There is no thought required for them. No Upasaka, this Purapakshi, no, he imagines another peculiar situation. Peculiar. He wants to say that Jnani, right? Atma Jnani and Vyavahara in the world. So he says, if you are involved in Vyavahara, you will forget the truth. That's what Purpakshi's worry is. How can you say that Jnani is free and then can involve, he has no requirement of thought is not required, remembrance is not required? Is it not such a dangerous situation you are talking about? उपासकैव लौकिकं विस्मरेद्यदि विस्मरत्वेव साध्यानात् विस्मृतिर्न तु वेदनात्. Purpakshi imagines. Suppose a jnani is there who wants to meditate on Atma. He is meditating not to know Atma. Just he wanted to withdraw. He wanted to contemplate. Like, when a great Mahatma was reading a huge book. Somebody went and asked him, Mahatma ji, kya pad rahe hain? Some Vedanta book is studying. He said, no, I am just reading what is mentioned about me, what is said about me, what is described about me in this book I am reading. That is a book about Brahma, Brahmavastu. So I am just reading what is mentioned about me here. He may study in that sense. When you and I study Brahman, we think it put a third entity. Now Jagat, now Jiva, there is something. Now the Ishvara, Ishvara okay, beyond is Brahmavastu. So I am Brahman, I am thinking. As though it is an entity separate from you. Psychologically, we put Brahman away from us. So Upasaka is bringing about an imagination that a Jnani is there who want to do Dhyayan, meditation on Atma. He want to be there. Like this man reading a book on Brahman and says that what is Brahman also is not reading as Paroksha. He is reading as it's himself, his own self. And Upasaka is there. He is also very much particular about Dhyanam. So both look alike, isn't it? Both are meditating. Suppose Gurudev conducted many meditation classes he conducted in life. In every camp, Gurudev would conduct a meditation session. Suppose in the meditation session, suppose Gurudev says, contemplate Aham Brahmasmi. Suppose he gave that mantra. So when he says Aham Brahmasmi, when he sits in meditation, he is not to repeating that Aham Brahmasmi, not to know Brahman. He is claiming that Aham Brahmasmi is a fact for me, it's an experience. But for others, they want to be Brahman one day. But then Purapakshi says, because this Jnani, meditating on Brahman, Jnani want to meditate, he can spend some time in meditation, withdrawn from world. He within himself, he meditating. He can meditate. Not to know Brahman, but as Brahman is sitting in himself, within himself. Laukikam Vispare, then his Vyavahara is cannot, he cannot involve because of his involvement in meditation. He cannot do Laukika work Vyavahara. Therefore, Laukika Vyavahara is contradicting to Jnani. That's what he want to prove. So he's become opposite to Vyavahara. Which one? That Jnani's Jnanam or meditation is opposite to Vyavahara. He is not involving in the worldly activities. He cannot involve. That means what? Is Jnanam is opposite to Vyavahara. That's what, is it not? So, Laukikam Vismaret Yadi. Vijjar Vismaratu Eva. Sa Dhyanat Vispurtihi. Natu Vedanat. So, Purapakshi Jnanam is opposite to Vyavahara now. So Jnana is opposite to Vyavahara. So when you get Jnanam, you cannot participate in the world. How do you say there is no contradiction between Jnanam and Vyavahara? That's what our opponent is asking. Are bhaiya, Visparatu eva sa. If a meditating Jnani ignores all the involvement in the worldly activities, let him ignore Visparatu. See, he is not involving in the worldly activities because of his meditation, not because of his knowledge. Very important. What we say, once you get Atma Jnani, he can involve in Vyavahara. That is not contradicting to Jnani. Upasaka, if he involves in Vyavahara too much with ego and egocentric desires, then he will not be able to meditate. So Upasana and Laukika Vyavahara are difficult to, because they are opposing each other. So Upasaka is trying to maintain himself in the Upasana mode and trying to reduce his Vyavahara, because he says, the more I involve in Vyavahara, I forget my Brahman, who says Upasaka. But in the case of a Jnani, it is not opposed. Not a Vedanat. Say, fully knowledgeable Mahatma Jnani, awakened soul, he can involve in worldly activities. That is not creating any harm to his status of wisdom. His Jnanam is not challenged. So, I can get Jnanam, Atma Jnanam, and I can involve in Vyavahara, no conflict. But I am a Upasaka, practicing Sadhaka, then I am involved in the world. I am worried that I may get lost in the world. So therefore, Jnani, Atmajnani, and Loka Vyavahara, transactions or worldly activities are not opposed. Please remember. He can involve in the worldly activities. He can do social work. He can teach. He can roam around. Whatever he wants, he can do. But his knowledge is not questioned or threatened. No opposition. Upasaka has to meditate, so he gets scared. Oh, that Purpaksha, that's what. Purpaksha says, like Upasaka, when he involves too much in the world, he forgets that he is Brahman. Same thing may happen to Jnani also. Jnani says, with Jnani, it doesn't happen. So, Mahatmas are very clearly said. Bhagavan Shankaracharya, what did he say? Jnana and karma samuchayanam is not possible. That is, jnana and karma, knowledge and karma, samuchayanam, practicing together is not possible. Why? To practice karma, ahankara is required, karta is required. To practice the jnana, jnani has no ahankara. So jnanam and karma doesn't go together. But here you say jnani and karma can go together. Here what we should understand, it is not karma, it is karma abhasa. So jnanam and karma abhasa is a shade, it's a shadow of that karma. He is not involved in ego and egocentrism. Ego is vyavaharika ahankara in a jnani is like a burnt rope. It has no strength to bind anything or to get bound. It's a burnt rope it is. Akriti dikh rahi hai. That's called karma abhasa. Jnanam and karma abhasa can be go together. Jnani can involve in worldly activities, but while involving in the worldly activities, he knows that he is Brahman. So they are not opposed to each other. But jnana and karma, they cannot go together. Because the karma requires ahankara, kartrutva bhava, bhoktrutva bhava, all these things are necessary. So Shankaracharya argued, how can the jnana and karma can go together? Jnani is what? One who has given up ahankara. Who is a karmishti? One who had ahankara. How can these two together go? Eka kal mein, same place, same time, samuchayanam, combination is not possible. But here what they are talking about, jnana and karma abhasa samuchayana. Jnana is involving in the worldly activities as a play, as a loka sangraham, as to help others in society. But he has no desire to achieve anything in this world. He is already full. So next one continuing, teacher is continuing further. Dhyanam tvachchaikametasya vedanan mukti siddhitaha jnanadeva tu kaivalyam iti shastreshu dindimaha. See, dhya dyetasya vedanat mukti siddhataha. So that means what? Etasya, of this man of knowledge. Etasya, this man of knowledge. Vedanat, etasya vedanat. This man of knowledge, having known, having gained this knowledge, mukti siddhataha. The liberation is already achieved, gained. Vedanat mukti siddhataha. Etasya vedanat mukti siddhataha. So by gaining the knowledge, realization is achieved. Dhyanam to aichikam. Dhyanam is depending on karta. Therefore, it is depending on his will. Dhyan meditation, upasana. That means what? Suppose there is a upasaka and there is a jnani meditating. Both are looking same. Both are meditating. And jnani also following all the conditions of meditation. Upasaka also. Both are sitting in Padmasana. Both are repeating Aham Brahmasmi Vritti. Both look alike. What is the difference? As we have seen already, Upasaka is want to gain Brahman one day, but Jnani is declaring, claiming as his own fact, is just enjoying the realization that I am Brahman. So, for Upasaka, meditation is compulsory. So, Dhanam to Aichikasya. So, for Jnani, meditation is a choice and not an obligation. For whom? For Jnani. He may meditate, he may not meditate. But Upasaka has to do because his ego is there. He wanted to do meditation. He is not free from the meditation practice. So for an Upasaka, meditation is compulsory. For a Jnani, Aichikam means what? Optional. That's why, like Tapovan Maharaj, Ramana Maharshi, some of them completely withdrawn. Tapovan Maharaj never involved in any worldly activities. Maybe he taught Puja Gurudev, one or two people. Very, very minimum. 99.99% is completely withdrawn. He has no interest in whatsoever in worldly affairs. He is always meditating. He was meditating, meaning not Upasaka. He was meditating as a Jnani, meaning he is always absorbed in himself. In himself, I am Brahman. He said, all this is Brahman to me. Tapovan Maharaj. Tapasvi. Ramana Maharshi also withdrawn. Later on, he never moved out of Arunachala. Whoever came to him, he guided him. He guided them. Sometimes they may close their eyes and they may remain within themselves, or they may open their eyes and involve. So, but that is their choice. Dhyanam to aichikam etasya. For man of knowledge, this meditation is an optional, is choice. Because why? Is already gained mukti siddhata. Jnana devu to kaivalyam iti shastra. Therefore, What is the Shastras declared? Dindima, Vedanta Dindima, Jnana Devatu Kaivalya. Unless this Jnana Vritti, Jnanam is generated, that Aham Brahmasmi Jnanam takes place, there is no Mukti. So I do Saguna Upasana, go to other loka, stay there, come back. There is no, it's not Mukti at all. I may go to Kailasha, Vaikunta, any loka, wherever I go. Till I know I am Brahman, there is no Mukti. This is what declaration of Vedanta. Veda declaration, Jnanadevatu Kaivalyam. It is Shastreshu Dindima. Very, very ढंका बजा के शास्त्र कहा है कि ज्ञान से ही मुक्ति. ज्ञान माने इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं है, ज्ञान माने अखंड ब्रह्माकार वृत्ति. तद्वारा अहम ब्रह्मास्मि ज्ञानम थ्रू महावाक्य विचार, मेडिटेटिंग विचार, इंक्वायरी, कस्त्वम कोहम कुत आयात कामे जननी को मे तात इति परिभावय सर्वमसारम विश्वम त्यक्त्वा स्वप्न विचारम. Thus I have been all I renounce and then I remain as Brahman. And awakening takes place. So when Vijayanath Muni said that meditation is an optional thing for Jnani, one who has awakened to the truth. So for a Jnani, what is not required? No sadhana required. Puja Gurudev, you know, that state, that was such a state he was in. He just comes on the dais and starts his talk. No invocation, nothing. Because he's self-effulgent. He's always in that. When he sits on the dais, he's none other than, he's Brahman always. But when he sits on dais, his full expression is seen. He would come and straight away start the talk. It says all such Mahatmas were called as, moving Narayanas. So once Sthita Prajna, once that Prajna is established in Aham Brahmasmi, in this knowledge, thereafter no sadhana is required. He may meditate, he may withdraw, he may involve or he may withdraw. Absolutely. But meditation also, aichikam, account his interest. Sometimes he may withdraw, sometimes he may involve. Upasaka, no, everybody, he has to put a lot of efforts to remember, to study, to reflect, to remember God, to do upasana. Otherwise, I may forget Bhagavan. Upasaka is worried that he may involve in the world. And for Upasaka, the worldly Vyavahara and Upasana are opposite to each other. So he gets worried. So he tries to withdraw from the worldly activities. He cannot do withdraw completely because duties are there, karma is there. So he tries to balance. He struggles. Whereas once awakened Atma Jnani, no struggle. But with Purvapakshi says, some other doubt is there for me. Another doubt is there. I will ask you that. That we will see in the next class tomorrow. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। थैंक यू ऑल। हरि ओम।